All right, so we're gonna dive into the golden lion tamarin.
Okay.
And just the name kind of makes you think of something special, right? Like
Yeah.
a little miniature lion, and then you send over some pictures, and wow, this little guy.
Yeah,
It's like right out of a Dr. Seuss book
it really
with
is.
that bright orange mane.
Well, and that's something that people have been drawn to for centuries, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we actually have an account from the 1500s
Oh.
by Antonio Pigafetta, who
Mhm.
was an explorer on the first voyage to circumnavigate the globe.
Oh, oh.
And he described them as beautiful simian-like cats, similar to small lions.
Oh,
So fast forward to today, and they've kind of reached like celebrity status in Brazil.
oh, really?
They're on postage stamps
Yeah.
and even the 20 real banknote.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
But you've also flagged that, despite their popularity, they're facing some challenges.
right.
And their habitat, the Atlantic rainforest,
Yeah.
seems to be a big part of the problem. Sadly, a familiar story. The Atlantic rainforest has been reduced to just 7% of its original size.
Wow,
Right.
that's a huge amount.
It is. And then what's even worse is it's heavily fragmented.
Oh.
So imagine like little islands of trees in a sea of development. And most of these forest patches are just too small to support a healthy population.
Yeah. Okay, so fragmentation is a big issue, but haven't there also been issues with the pet trade and
Yeah.
capturing them?
Absolutely. That was a historical pressure that definitely contributed to their decline.
Okay.
It's really a combination of factors that almost led to their extinction.
Wow.
By the 1970s, the wild population had dwindled down to a critically low number, like around 200 individuals.
Wow.
And they were officially classified as critically endangered by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, or IUCN.
Wow.
That designation underscored the urgency of the situation, for sure.
Just 200, that's incredibly close to disappearing altogether.
Right.
It really shows how much we can impact even the smallest of creatures.
Yes. But the good news is they didn't disappear.
They did not.
You've also included some articles and reports about their comeback, and it seems like there have been some pretty remarkable efforts to turn things around.
Absolutely. Their story is often cited as this truly inspiring conservation success story.
Oh, wow.
And it involved a multifaceted approach, reintroduction programs, vaccination schemes, and initiatives to reconnect those fragmented habitats we talked about.
So they basically threw everything they could at the problem, and it worked.
Yeah.
Give me the highlights. Like, how did they go from just 200 to, well, what are the numbers like today?
Well, by 2003, thanks to these efforts, their status was upgraded by the IUCN from critically endangered to endangered.
Okay.
And the most recent census puts the wild population around 4,800 individuals.
Wow, that's
Still not entirely out of the woods,
Yeah.
but a dramatic improvement from those dark days of the 70s.
Yeah, absolutely. From 200 to almost 5,000.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
There is a-
But I have to admit, I'm still a little fuzzy on the tamarin itself. Like, what makes them so unique, aside from that fantastic mane?
Wait, so it's important to note that the term lion tamarin actually encompasses 4 distinct species.
Oh, okay.
You have the golden lion tamarin, the black lion tamarin, the black-faced lion tamarin, and the golden-headed lion tamarin.
Huh.
Each one occupies a different and limited region within the fragmented Atlantic rainforest.
Okay.
But for this deep dive, we're focusing on the golden lion tamarin, which,
Right.
as you pointed out, is quite striking.
Yeah.
It's not just that vibrant orange fur, but they also have these really expressive, almost startled-looking wide eyes.
Yeah.
And their slender, elongated fingers, which are perfectly adapted for extracting insects and tree sap from like the nooks and crannies of their rainforest home.
So they're not just a pretty face.
No, they're not.
They're equipped for life in the rainforest.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get back to their recovery.
Right.
Where did things start to shift? What were some of those early actions taken to protect those dwindling populations?
Well, a key turning point came in 1974 when Brazil established its very first biological reserve,
Oh, wow.
Poço das Santas, and it was created specifically to safeguard one of the remaining golden lion tamarin populations.
Okay.
This is a crucial step,
Hmm.
recognizing that protecting their habitat was absolutely fundamental to their survival.
Yeah, definitely. So creating a safe haven like that makes total sense, but protecting one area can't be the whole solution, right? Especially when we're talking about such small, fragmented populations.
You're absolutely right. Protected areas are vital, but they're just one piece of the puzzle.
Right.
Recognizing the dangers of inbreeding and the need for genetic diversity.
Yeah.
Conservationists turned to captive breeding and reintroduction programs.
Okay.
So in 1973, a truly collaborative program involving 43 zoos and breeding centers across 3 continents got underway.
Wow, 43 zoos on 3 continents. That's a serious commitment.
It is.
What was the thinking behind such a widespread program?
Well, think of it as like an insurance policy against extinction. These captive populations allowed experts to carefully manage breeding,
Right.
maintain genetic diversity,
Yeah.
something that would be incredibly difficult, if not impossible, with just those small, isolated wild populations.
Yeah.
And the ultimate goal was to reintroduce these captive-born tamarins back into the wild
Right.
to help bolster the existing populations.
And this actually worked. They successfully reintroduced these captive-born tamarins back into the wild.
It was a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
It required years of planning
Right.
and careful monitoring. But yes, it was a success.
Wow.
Between 1984 and 2001, 146 captive-born golden lion tamarins were released back into the wild,
Wow.
primarily within those protected reserves that we talked about.
Okay.
And here's a remarkable statistic. Approximately 40% of the current wild population descends from those reintroduced individuals.
That's amazing. That really shows the power of these collaborative efforts. I mean, zoos often get a bad rap,
Yeah.
but in this case, they played a critical role in preventing the golden lion tamarin from vanishing altogether.
They really did.
But even after these initial successes, I'm guessing there were more hurdles along the way, right?
There's a saying in conservation, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
And the golden lion tamarin story definitely embodies that.
Right.
Even with protected areas
Yeah.
and successful reintroduction, they still faced ongoing challenges.
Okay.
One of the biggest setbacks came in 2016.
2016, what happened then?
Well, Brazil was hit by this devastating yellow fever outbreak,
Oh, no.
the worst in 80 years.
Oh, wow.
And this virus, spread by mosquitoes,
Right.
proved to be especially lethal to golden lion tamarins.
Oh, no.
It wiped out roughly 32% of the wild population.
Oh, gosh.
By 2018, their numbers had plummeted to an estimated 2,500 individuals.
Wow. That's heartbreaking after all that work to bring them back from the brink.
Yeah.
It really shows how fragile their situation remains.
It was a stark reminder of the constant threats that these populations face.
Yeah.
But this outbreak also served as a catalyst for innovation. The Golden Lion Tamarin Association, known by its Portuguese acronym AMLD,
Okay.
they stepped up in a big way.
All right.
Recognizing the need for proactive measures, they partnered with research institutions to develop a special yellow fever vaccine specifically for tamarins.
A vaccine for monkeys. Now, that's something I've never heard of.
I know, right?
But I imagine it's not as simple as vaccinating your pet dog or cat. How do you vaccinate wild animals in a rainforest?
Yeah, it was uncharted territory, required an incredible amount of scientific research
Right.
and logistical planning.
Yeah.
They had to develop a vaccine that would be safe and effective for these sensitive primates,
Right.
and then figure out how to actually deliver it in a way that wouldn't cause undue stress.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The first wild golden lion tamarin was vaccinated in 2020,
Wow.
and by October 2024, they had successfully vaccinated nearly 500 individuals in the wild.
That's amazing. Talk about a game changer for protecting these vulnerable populations, but I get the sense that the story doesn't end there.
Yeah.
You mentioned ongoing challenges.
Right.
What other obstacles have they faced in recent years?
Well, this is where that habitat fragmentation that we talked about earlier comes back into play in a dramatic way.
Okay.
In 2018, plans were underway to widen a major toll road.
Oh.
And this road was slated to cut right through some of the most critical remaining golden lion tamarin habitat.
So not just fragmenting the forest further,
Yeah.
but putting a literal barrier right through their home.
Exactly.
I can see how that would be a major problem.
Huge concern.
Yeah.
This road expansion threatened to isolate tamarin populations in those already fragmented reserves,
Yeah.
making it even more difficult for them to find mates and maintain genetic diversity,
Right.
which is so crucial for their long-term survival.
I bet the AMLD didn't just sit back and watch this happen. They seem like a pretty proactive group.
They did not. They recognized the severity of the threat and decided to take action.
Okay.
They challenged the company responsible for the road expansion in court.
Taking a major corporation to court, that's a bold move. What was the outcome?
It's a truly inspiring example of how legal action can be used to protect wildlife. The AMLD actually won the case.
Wow.
The court ordered the company to construct the first ever forested bridge over a federal highway in Brazil.
Oh, wow.
And this bridge was specifically designed to allow wildlife, including the golden lion tamarins,
Yeah.
to safely cross the road.
A bridge designed for monkeys. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Did it actually work? Do the
Yeah.
tamarins use it?
It's a testament to creative conservation.
Yeah.
Inaugurated in 2020, the bridge quickly became a symbol of hope for the golden lion tamarin.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't just a bridge.
Right.
They also incorporated a series of tunnels and treetop passageways,
Oh, wow.
all designed to ensure safe passage of the tamarins and other wildlife
That's amazing.
between those fragmented forest patches.
It's a wonderful example of how, even in the face of seemingly impossible challenges, innovative solutions can be found. And it really highlights the importance of organizations like the AMLD who are willing to fight for the protection of these species.
Absolutely.
But the story continues to evolve, right? In 2019, a study was published that used computer modeling to determine what it would take for these golden lion tamarin populations to be truly viable
Yeah.
over the long term.
Right.
I'm always fascinated by these modeling studies because they allow us to kind of peer into the future and make more informed decisions.
Yeah.
What did this particular study reveal about the future prospects for the golden lion tamarin?
Well, the findings were both encouraging and a bit sobering.
Okay.
They concluded that for the golden lion tamarin to thrive,
Yeah.
at least 2,000 individuals need to be living in the minimum of 25,000 hectares of connected forest habitat.
Okay, so 2,000 tamarins and 25,000 hectares. That's the magic number for long-term sustainability.
Right.
How do things stand currently? Do they meet that?
So the good news is, based on the most recent census data, the current population and the amount of available habitat should be sufficient.
Okay.
However, and this is a critical caveat,
Yeah.
the study also emphasized that much of the existing habitat is still poorly connected.
So even though they have enough space, it's not seamlessly linked together. Those fragmented patches could still be a risk.
Exactly. It's like having plenty of food, but not being able to easily access it.
Right, like a buffet, but you can only go to one station.
Yeah, and it highlights the ongoing work that's still needed. Connecting those fragmented habitats is crucial for their long-term survival.
So what's next? What are the current efforts focused on to kind of address this?
Well, the AMLD and other organizations are continuing to do amazing work focusing on several key areas. They're creating wildlife corridors like that bridge we talked about
Right.
to link up those isolated patches. They're planting trees to restore degraded areas, expanding existing reserves, and even working with private landowners to encourage them to create their own reserves.
It's encouraging to hear that so many different groups are coming together to tackle this challenge.
Yeah.
It makes me think about the bigger picture. It's not just about saving one species, it's about protecting that whole web of life that they're a part of.
That's a really important point. The golden lion tamarin is what we call a flagship species.
Oh, okay.
They're captivating, and they really draw attention to the plight of their whole ecosystem,
Right.
the incredibly biodiverse Atlantic rainforest. And every species within that ecosystem plays a role, contributes to that delicate balance.
So it's like a domino effect. Losing one piece can impact the whole system.
Absolutely, and it makes you realize just how much we still don't understand about these complex ecosystems and how much we stand to lose
Right.
if we don't change our approach.
Absolutely. But at the same time, stories like the golden lion tamarins give us hope. They show that we can make a difference.
Yeah, even in the face of what can seem like insurmountable odds,
Right.
dedicated effort, innovation, and collaboration can make a real difference.
It's definitely an inspiring story of resilience and second chances. It reminds us that we can't take anything for granted.
Right.
Continued vigilance and action are essential.
Definitely.
As we wrap up this deep dive, what's one key takeaway you hope listeners will walk away with?
I think for me, it's understanding that conservation isn't just about scientists and experts working in far-off places.
Right.
It's something that we can all be a part of,
Yeah.
no matter where we live. Whether it's supporting organizations like the AMLD, making sustainable choices, or simply spreading awareness about the importance of biodiversity. Every action counts.
Well said. So for everyone listening, if you're feeling inspired, remember the golden lion tamarin story is still being written.
It is.
And we all have a role to play in making sure it has a happy ending.
Absolutely. The future of so many other species rests in our hands.